Welcome, everybody. So we just have 20 minutes together today. I thought I'd share with you some of our key messages that we love to share with students, and also share with you a bit of what I'm getting up to at the moment, some new things we're doing. So in case you don't know who I am, I'm sharing this slide just to let you know that I'm a professor at Stanford. Before that, I was a teacher. Up there, in that first picture, is me teaching in London many, many years ago when I was in my 20s. But have continued to teach, love being a teacher. So if you don't know YouCube, this is our site at Stanford. We have lots and lots of lessons, videos to help kids develop some of the ideas I'll share with you. So have a look at that. And these are a couple of books I would point you to. Mathematical Mindsets has just come out in a new edition, which you see there. And that is a book if you're a teacher of maths. That has lots of ideas about how to teach maths. Limitless Mind is really taking those ideas to anybody, and I'm going to share with you a few of the messages from Limitless Mind to start off with today. So I talk in the book about being limitless, and I say that there's 6, I call them keys, and I refer to them as keys because I really believe that if you take on these pieces of information, they have the potential to unlock you in different ways. So people who know our work won't be surprised to know that the first key in the book is about the incredible capacity of our brains to grow and change. So this is not how it works, but this is what many students think, particularly when they start to struggle and they start to think, I haven't got the right brain. In fact, I just recently saw a survey that over 85% of teachers and parents believe that you're born with a math brain or you're not. That's a pretty terrible statistic. But anyway, this is not how it works, and this is how it works. So I work with neuroscientists at Stanford, and they share that every time we learn something, there's one of 3 things that happen in your brain. One is the first time you learn something, a new pathway develops. Another possibility is you make connections between pathways. A third possibility is that you strengthen pathways you already had. So these mathematical pathways are developing all the time. We're not born with these pathways. And in fact, the scientists now know that anybody can learn anything. There are no limits to what you can learn. Unfortunately, schools are set up to limit kids, and that's something we work to change. So the second key in the book is around the great evidence we have of times of struggle. Turns out when you're struggling, those are the very best times for your brain. And I know that when we let learners know that they should be struggling, that it's freeing for them. It helps them keep going. When I teach students at Stanford, whether they're undergrads or middle school students, and I say to them, I'm giving you this work to do because it's difficult, I want you to struggle, they look at me sometimes and they say, this is so hard. And I say to them, it feels hard because your brain is literally working so hard. This is what we want. You want to be doing this work that's really difficult. And I find that when people really take on this message, that being in a time of struggle is good, it causes them not only to learn differently, but to live their lives differently. So how do we encourage this with students? How do we get them to really embrace struggle and not start to think, I'm not good because I'm struggling? I am very happy that when I wrote my book, Limitless Mind, I interviewed a lot of teachers who've really taken on these ideas. This is one of them. Her name's Jen Schaefer, and she's a 5th grade teacher in Canada. She has this on Post-it notes all through her room, and she says to the kids, these are the steps of struggle. And you want to get onto these steps. You don't need to be the cocky kid on the top step, but you don't want to be the sad one on the bottom step either. You want to be on the steps. And she said her students like this metaphor, but there's one they like even more, comes from James Nottingham, and it's the pit of struggle. So this is her 5th graders making their own representation of the pit. And you can see the kids, as they're going down into the pit, they're saying things like, I'm so confused, I'm not good at maths, but as they're coming out of the pit, they're saying, I can do this. And I loved when I interviewed Jen that she said to me that her students often come to her and say, Miss Schaefer, I'm really in the pit. And her response to that is, excellent. What classroom tools do you need? So there's a couple of things I love about that response. One, she values them for being in the pit. She doesn't jump in and save them from struggle and help them. And the other is she just offers them classroom tools. So this is not what we've been trained to do as teachers, to keep kids in that place of struggle, but it turns out to be really important. So I've shared a couple of keys about brain growth and struggle. These lead to the third key that I talk about in my book, and I'm sure everyone is aware of now, that if you believe you can learn anything, it actually changes how your brain works. We have considerable evidence that what you believe will change not only your learning, but it can also improve your health. It can make you less aggressive. There's a whole wealth of great outcomes. And this study really helped us understand why. This was an amazing study done by Moser and colleagues of people's brains when they were taking tests. And the orange brain is people with a growth mindset, and it shows you what happens when people made a mistake. So one thing they found was incredible brain growth whenever people made a mistake. The other was that people with a growth mindset, those brains that look almost on fire, had a lot more brain activity when they made a mistake. So this is some of the clearest evidence that we have that what you believe about yourself will change how your brain works. If you're an educator, you're in difficult situations. I know we all are. If you go into challenging situations and you think to yourself, I can do this, but you mess up or fail, your brain will respond more positively than if you go into situations thinking, I don't think I can do this. So that's how important it is for all of us in all phases of our lives. And it helps us understand evidence like this. This is one of Carol Dweck's papers with evidence that kids going through 7th and 8th grade, the only difference between them was their mindset. And the kids on the low-level path are the kids with a fixed mindset. The kids with a growth mindset were always on this upward trajectory. The good news is we can all change our mindset at any time. It's a journey. It's not a quick switch that you can flick on and off, but I do find that once people become aware of this evidence that we share, they change. And I was with Carol Dweck recently. Just before the pandemic, we were presenting to some people, and she shared with me that she's changed her mind about mindset. And what she shared that day was she used to believe that people had a growth or a fixed mindset. She now realizes we all have times of fixed mindset thinking, and what's important is to identify your triggers and for your kids to identify their triggers. What causes you to start thinking, I can't do this? And she even recommends giving a name to your fixed mindset. She shared that day that she'd been presenting to a big company, and the CEO of the company had said he'd decided to call his fixed mindset Dwayne. And he said that day, when we're under pressure, I become Dwayne, and I get super critical and bossy. And the young woman in the company said, yes, and when your Dwayne comes out, my Iana comes rushing out, and I become stressed and submissive. So these are great conversations that you can have them with kids also. What causes you to feel this? What triggers that fixed mindset? And we've just shared on our website recently, have a look at this if you haven't seen it, a rubric for kids to self-reflect on their own mindsets. Lots of teachers have said to me over the years, what does it look like in the classroom? How do I know if kids have a growth mindset? So have a look at that. It's on our website. So I've shared with you 3 of the keys, and I do believe that if you take on these 3 keys, you will live your life differently. And in fact, you only need to live one day with what I call a limitless perspective, and you will feel it, particularly if it's a day when things go wrong. But for learners, these messages are not enough. They're important, but they're not enough. And this is how I think about it, that a lot of teachers have jumped on the mindset bus or bandwagon, and they're sharing with kids, you can do it. But when those mindset messages hit the wall of what I call fixed mathematics or other subjects, those messages fall flat. So what I mean by fixed maths is questions with one method and one answer. Kids don't really see how they can grow and learn, so those messages don't take root. So we're all about opening up maths at U Cubed. As I said, I work with neuroscientists. One of the things they've shared with me is that every time we think about a maths question, any of us, there are 5 different areas of the brain that are activated. 2 of them are visual pathways at the back of the head. You can see them there. And not only is it great to think visually, but when we think about maths in different ways, visuals, numbers, words, graphs, movement with maths, it causes the brain to start making these great connections. And the highest achieving people in the world are those. I've just realized we're on the wrong PowerPoint. Can I pause and go into a different one? Shoot, how did that happen? Okay, everybody. This is what happens when you have a growth mindset. You can realize you're in the wrong PowerPoint and just continue. So, okay, here we go again. So, here's our brains. I have shared with you a few different messages about believing in ourselves, and on our website, UCubed, we've taken these messages and put them into maths tasks for kids. And particularly, we're all about opening up maths, so there's space inside questions to learn, and so that kids can develop these brain connections. So I'll share with you a couple of ideas, and then I want to share with you something new I'm working on. So to get us thinking visually about maths, I thought I'd ask you right now if you could work out in your head for me, not on paper, not with others, just in your head, how you would think about this question, 18 times 5. So just think about that for a moment. So it doesn't matter if you have an answer, it's not really about that. But I'd love to know how you thought about it. And I know a lot of people, when I ask them to think mentally about a question like that, will draw up in their head what I think of as the traditional algorithm. Did anybody do that, where they were thinking, I'm going to carry it, and okay, lots of people? That's one way to do it. It's kind of the hardest way to do it in your head, actually, but that's one way. Or other ways we might have done, did anybody do this? Think, instead I'm going to think of 20 times 5 and take off 2 5s. How about this one? Some people think 10 times 5 and 8 times 5. Some people think of 9 times 5s, or 18s. Or one of my favorites, that 18 times 5 is the same as 9 times 10. And that visual shows us why they're the same. You can see they're the same area. So right here, we have our brains connecting, seeing something with the numbers, seeing something with visuals, and much better than giving kids timed tests of math facts. So another one I like to share, a very common question in a maths class, what's the area of an 8x3 rectangle? One method, one answer. Maths questions, maths books are filled with questions like this. We can open up that question by asking, what rectangles have an area of 24? So now, kids are having to think about the relationship between length and width. They're drawing, they're getting these great brain connections. So I wanted to show you what I'm working on now, coming up. So these are our books that bring all of these mathematics tasks, a K8 book series. But I'm going to, do I have time to share with you? I'll go share this. So at UCubed for the last few years, we've been running maths camps for students where we teach maths in these ways. And we've also had teachers all across the country teach these maths camps with great results. Sorry? Okay, let's see what happens. So you're going to see the kids before they came to our camp, and then after.
Some people think I'm not good at math. I can never do anything. I'm not good at it. I'm just going to give up.
A lot of people think of it as like prison, like you don't have any freedom.
Okay, time to go to your notebook. Okay, read chapter 1. Okay, here's your worksheet.
The math textbook, it's kind of like the Bible. You have to kind of worship the textbook, and I don't really like that.
Everybody's going so quickly, and I thought if I didn't go quick, people think I'm like not smart.
I made a lot of mistakes and I got really sad about it.
You make a mistake, you're pretty much done. Yeah.
They can't do it fast, and they're so smart because they can, and I'm not smart, and I just kind of stopped.
You feel like you're serving a sentence for like nothing.
I love it. That does look like a cuboid.
I've done better with math when I was talking with people, sharing ideas.
4 or 5 brains work better than 1.
I'll see it one way, but then someone else will see it another way, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense.
I love that we're getting different answers out because lots of problems in math, there are different answers.
Have more than one way to solve the question.
Because in real life, you're not gonna just do one thing. You're gonna do many things. You're gonna need to use different methods.
No, hold on. Take your time and just experiment with every way that could possibly work.
You definitely have to be patient because certain problems, they take forever.
Math isn't about speed, and you can make mistakes and you learn from them.
Yeah, I did that too! Yes!
Math isn't like the enemy, and it can't hurt me.
You can run wild, you can pass ideas by each other.
I thought that math was all about right answers and wrong. Now that I believe that math is really about ideas and creativity, it's a lot more inspiring.
These kids improved their performance on standardized tests by the equivalent of 2.8 years of school in the 4 weeks they spent with us. So lots of things on our website for you to check out. I want to finish by sharing with you something new that I'm working on. So I recently was introduced to an amazing group of designers in Germany. And we started working together because we decided we want to bring this visual creative maths to a lot more kids. And we decided that we're going to do this through a platform with parents who work together with their kids when they're younger. And these designers are amazing at taking a lot of the tasks that we love and making them digital in really beautiful ways. So I'm going to show you a quick video, and before I do that, I'm just going to explain the tasks on it so you can make sense of the video. And the first one is a task called Turn the Frown Upside Down. So you have a number of little animals, and your task is to have them all flipped over with a smiley face. But the constraint is you can only flip 3 at a time. So this is a task that's helping kids develop pattern recognition, number flexibility, and it can grow, and kids can start to generalize. So that's one of them. And then another one you might know, it's one of my faves, 4 fours, where you try this if you don't know this problem. You can have exactly 4 fours, and your task is, can you make every number between 1 and 20 using 4 fours and any operation? In this, we'll have a look. In the app that we're developing, well, I'll wait till we get onto it. So this is Turn the Frown Upside Down, and we should be able to hear a bit of sound on this. And what we're finding, so we're putting this out there for kids already. They're absolutely loving the activities on here, the tasks, the way of thinking about mathematics. This is showing you, I think, yay. And then, so with 4 fours, at first, the kids get a plus and a minus, and they start to be able to fill up their row of 20. And when they get the ones they can do with that, they get multiplication and division. After they've worked on it for a while, they get parentheses, and then they also get factorial. I love factorial. When we taught factorial to our summer camp kids, they were so excited about it. They talked about it for weeks. It was really interesting. But anyway, Boggle's pretty fun. So it's a platform we do with parents, and instead of valuing kids getting answers right, they get these little stickers when they make mistakes, when they do something that's challenging, when they do something that causes a brain connection. As the kids are getting to work on these cool activities, the parents can access what the kids are working on and get help. They can get little advice about ways to prompt their kids. So we're actually going to release it. There's a beta version, releases in July. We're looking for parents and kids to try it out. So if anybody wants to try it or get involved with it, come see me or Tanya, who's sitting in the front here and is also working on it with me, one of my doctoral students. So the final thing I wanted to share with you all is, you may have heard about this. I'm one of the writers of a new mathematics framework for the state of California, where we're really working to get these ideas out to all teachers and students in California. We've had a lot of pushback. It's really interesting. Only a third of kids are proficient in maths in California, yet there's a big group of people who want to keep maths the same. So it would be great to get your support. It's actually about to release again on Monday, I think. And on Monday, the LA Times is publishing an op-ed I've written about it, trying to counter a lot of the misinformation that's out there. You may be thinking, I'm not in California, this doesn't affect me. But I really think that if we can't change maths and make it better in California, there's a lot of states that are going to think there's really, nothing we can do. So come see us at UCubed. Please share the op-ed when it comes out on Monday and help get these ideas out to more people. Discover Boggle if you would like that cool digital experience, particularly for parents. And thank you for coming. Viva la revolution.